Commander Vexthor of the Calrathi Dominion stood before the holographic display, his four eyes narrowing at the impossible data streaming across the screen. 300 cycles. 300 cycles of what should have been a simple pacification campaign, and still, the humans fought. This makes no tactical sense. His second-in-command, Officer Kelnari, chittered nervously. Their fleet is destroyed. Their colonies are ash. Their homeworld is blockaded. Why do they persist? Vexthor had no answer. In his 2,000 years of military service, he had never encountered a species like this. The Calrathi Dominion had conquered 47 worlds, subjugated 32 spacefaring civilizations, and every single one had surrendered when defeat became mathematically certain. It was the rational choice, the logical choice. But humanity, it seemed, had never learned logic. The war had begun predictably enough. Humanity had refused to cede mining rights to the mineral-rich asteroid belt orbiting their star. A show of force was deemed necessary. The Dominion expected capitulation within weeks. Instead, they found something that would haunt Vexthor's dreams for the rest of his long life. They found defiance. The first human fleet fell within hours. Outgunned, outmaneuvered, obliterated, the Dominion celebrated. Then, impossibly, the humans built another fleet. It fell too. They built a third. When that was destroyed, they retrofitted civilian ships with weapons. When those were gone, they sent mining vessels armed with nothing but fusion torches and determination. "Sir, we're receiving another transmission from the human resistance," Kelnari announced, his voice trembling slightly. Vexthor gestured for it to be played. A human appeared on screen. A female with iron-gray hair and eyes that burned with something the commander couldn't name. She wore the tattered remains of a military uniform, and behind her, Vexthor could see the ruins of what had once been a major city. "Commander Vexthor," she began, her voice steady despite the destruction surrounding her. "I am General Sarah Chen, speaking for what you believe are the last free humans. You've taken our ships, you've bombed our cities, you've killed billions of us, and you wonder why we don't surrender." She leaned closer to the camera, and Vexthor saw something in her expression that made his chitin crawl. "You want to know our secret? We don't have one. We're not special. We're not blessed by gods or gifted with supernatural powers. We just have one thing that you'll never understand. We'd rather die on our feet than live on our knees." The transmission continued. "You study us trying to find our weakness. But you're looking in the wrong place. Our weakness is our strength. We're fragile. We live maybe 100 years if we're lucky. We're weak compared to most species in the galaxy. We know we can lose. We know we probably will lose. But that knowledge doesn't make us surrender. It makes us fight harder because every moment matters when you don't have eternity." Vexthor wanted to shut off the transmission, but something compelled him to keep listening. "You know what humans do when we're told something is impossible?" Chen continued. "We do it anyway. You know what we do when the odds are 1,000,000,000? We bet on ourselves. You know what we do when every tactical analysis says we should quit?" She smiled grimly. "We attack." The general gestured behind her, where Vexthor could now see thousands of humans gathering in the rubble, armed with primitive projectile weapons, tools, and sharpened metal. "You think you've won because you've destroyed our military. You haven't won. You've just made every human a soldier. You think you've won because you've taken our worlds. You haven't. You've just given us something to take back. You think you've broken us because we've lost so much." She paused and her smile widened. "You've just made us angry." The transmission ended. Vexthor stood in silence for a long moment. Then quietly he asked Kelnari a question he had never asked in 300 cycles. "What are our casualties?" 17,000 ships destroyed or disabled. 4 million soldiers killed. 23 billion credits spent on enough. Vexthor cut him off. "And the humans?" "Their official military is completely destroyed, sir. But resistance cells have increased by 3,000%. Every human settlement is now a potential combat zone. They're using rocks, chemicals, even biological warfare against themselves just to deny us resources." Vexthor understood now. This wasn't a war anymore. Wars could be won. This was something else entirely. The humans had turned themselves into a viral idea, one that said, "Submission is not an option." "Prepare the fleet for withdrawal," Vexthor ordered. "Sir?" Kelnari's eyes widened in shock. "We control the system. We control nothing," Vexthor interrupted. We're occupying a graveyard guarded by ghosts who refuse to die. Every day we stay, we lose more ships, more soldiers, more resources. And for what? To rule over beings who will spend the next 1,000 years finding new and creative ways to kill us? He turned to face his second-in-command fully. The humans have taught me something, Kelnari. Some species can be conquered. Others can be destroyed. But humanity? Humanity can only be left alone, because they never learned to yield, and we cannot teach them what they refuse to learn. As the Kalrathi fleet began its long journey home, General Sarah Chen stood in the ruins of New Boston, watching the alien ships depart through tear-filled eyes. Around her, the survivors emerged from their hiding places. Broken but unbeaten, they had won not through strength, but through something the galaxy had never encountered before: the absolute refusal to accept defeat. Humanity had survived. And that was enough.